Located on the crystal blue waters of Lake Huron lies Mackinac Island. She is tucked in between Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas. Indulge me as I share all the ins and outs of the place that stole my heart. This is Totally Mackinac Island. Hello and welcome to Totally Mackinac Island podcast. I am your host, Heather. I hope everyone is doing well. You know, we are very happy in this household. Our Hoosiers won the football game, which is a big deal. In case you did not know, Indiana Hoosiers have always been known for basketball, which is crazy. They've never been known for football. But last year they got a new coach, Coach Signetti. And he has come in and transformed this program, and it's really awesome to see. It is. I had some of my closest friends go down to IU, and in fact, my best friend Kelly at the wedding said in her speech that I was down there so much people thought I was a student, but they never were good at football. And so to see a Big Ten school finally come in and be doing what you would have always thought they were, going to be doing before is exciting. It was a really good game. Both teams were extremely well matched. It wasn't a blowout, which I was glad. It even came right down to the wire. So we are very, very happy in this house, and it just is fun to see. So that was the start of it. But that is not why you are here. You are here to hear about Mackinac, and I'm going to share with you my Bachelorette weekend. So when I went on my Bachelorette weekend, I was on hiatus from the podcast, and going up there, it was actually really kind of nice to go up there and just be there. As much as I love sharing everything with the podcast, sometimes when you're doing that, you're just constantly thinking about, I've got to think about this and sharing this and doing this. But it was really nice to be up there, be with my girlfriends, show some of them that had never been there, different parts of it. It was so fun. So I'm going to go in depth about it a little bit more. It took me a little bit. I had to reach out to the girls to ask them what they remembered. I had to look back at pictures. And I'm sure I'm going to leave some stuff out. I might remember it. I wrote it all out, but I'm sure things will come back to me as I'm doing that. So let's get into it. All right. So my Bachelorette weekend was earlier this year from May 14th through that Sunday, May 18th. May 14th, we headed up to Wolverine, Michigan to be with, staying my friend Jody. They have a cabin there, and so some of us girls headed up there to stay for that night, all right? So there were 6 of us that were up there, and that was Jody, Della, Nicole, Kelly C, Marcy, and I. And Jody has had this place for a while, and so it was really fun to be able to go up there and see it. It was beautiful. And it was only maybe 20 minutes away from Mackinac, so the fact that she's that close makes me super duper jealous. But it was great to go up there. We headed up, and I rode up with Kelly and Marcy, which was so great because I think one of the things I love when you're doing these girls trips and you're heading up there is the talking that you can do in the car. Now, you talk on the way back, but I notice when you're coming home, you're tired and you don't talk. But it was just really fun to have that time that you don't always get to get with your friends. And especially when you get older, you think, we're going to have more time to do that. And it doesn't happen as often. So got up there and walked in, and Jody had all the stuff in there. The girls totally shocked me because I kind of went into it, even though I knew it was my Bachelorette weekend, I went into it like it was just a girls' weekend because I was just excited to be able to hang out with everyone. So got up there, and they had printed off a bunch of pictures that she had hanging on the one window. She had these adorable hats made for us, which were super comfortable. And there was this funny sign, and it said, "I love beef." And I, for the life of me, cannot remember what the other part was supposed to say. But just great little snacks sitting out. It was wonderful. And so our other friends that were coming up, Della and Nicole, were riding up behind us. And when they got there, they walked out and they had all these goodie bags for each of us. So the one thing that I kind of wanted to do was, I'm a huge Friends fan. Okay, I'm a Friends fan. Golden Girls, Seinfeld, like old school, but Friends is my thing. And one of the things that I always said was Neil was my lobster, because Phoebe said that on the show. So what they did is we had themes going for the weekend. And I'm going to go into what the itinerary was that they had created. But I'll be honest, we did not really follow it. Nicole had reached out to me and said, can you give me some ideas? And so I went ahead and sent her some ideas, but these were just mere suggestions. I was not expecting us to do all of them, but it was just a, fun idea. So this is what we had. I will share this in my Instagram stories for you guys to see. So on Wednesday, day one, it was a themed PJ party. Arrive at Jody's cabin, where we were staying in and ordering food. Then on Thursday, it was a Friends sweatshirt theme. So they all had Friends sweatshirts. Mine was white, and mine said "Bride, finally found my lobster." The girls all had matching black sweatshirts that said "I do crew," and it said "We'll be there for you." And I knew a few things that were going on, but I had no idea the extent of what they were going to do. Okay, so Friday was the Friends sweatshirts, and we were departing for the island, staying at the Mackinac house. The daytime we were going to do the carriage tour to the Grand Hotel Cupola Bar, dinner 5:30 at Horns, and then nightlife. I had found Gatehouse, Horns, or Pink Pony. Day 3, which was 5:16, the theme fine dining, black, which they were going to all wear black and I was going to wear white. During the daytime, we did we had put down a sunrise walk, bike the island, see Sunset Rock in at Stonecliff, dinner 7 o'clock, Mary's Bistro Draft House, nightlife, live music at Horns or Pink Pony. Saturday on 5/17, theme Caftan night. Let's see here, daytime downtown, shops, snacks, drinks. Some have spa appointments from 11 to 1. Dinner 7 o'clock, Kingston Kitchen, nightlife, live music at Horns or Pink Pony. And then day 5, head home. We did not follow a lot of that stuff, but that's okay, because it's, life happens. But these were, again, mere suggestions. I did not want anybody to feel like we were strictly confined to that, because I know how that can be. If you hear meowing, it is my cat Blanche. She loves to sit next to me when I'm doing the podcast and be very, very vocal and tell me what's going on. Okay, so in the bags, when the girls arrived, this is what was in my bag. And I had my bride sweatshirt, and on the outside of the bag, of course, they had put all these cute stickers. It said peace and love, because I love peace and love. My friend Amy had got these adorable purple and white travel bags with lilac scented items in there. I got these cute bride socks, a headband with the to wash your face, and then the wristbands that go on so you don't, the water doesn't run down. These adorable heart pearl sunglasses, a adorable bride purse that was crossbody, a new mug to drink out of, some saltwater taffy from Mackinac, Murdoch's Fudge, some ring pops, a hangover cure bag, and these were all in there. I will share these in the story so you guys can see them because it's been a few months. So, ahead of time, Nicole had asked me where I wanted to stay, and I knew it was going to be better with so many of us to be downtown. So I suggested the Mackinac House because I love the Mackinac House, and I feel like there's a lot of fabulous amenities, which we did use. So she got a hold of Alyssa Doe, who, if you guys do not follow her on TikTok, do so. She shares so many great insights about the island, and I will share one of her videos in the Instagram story so you guys can follow her. She, of course, was so accommodating, so helpful. I cannot thank her enough. Huge shout out to Alyssa and to the Mackinac House. They were so great. So we stayed Wednesday at Jody's house. It was so fun. We actually stayed up later than I thought we would. And the next day, what was great is that 3 of the other girls were going to be driving up, and originally I thought we'll get there earlier and we'll do some things, but we just kind of went with the flow. There were so many of us, you just can't rush it. And so we got there to, we were going to take the ferry over, and we decided just to do Arnold Ferry. And they were not doing the half-hour runs, which I should have known better. So they were only leaving every hour an hour. So I was trying to tell my friends to get there as soon as they could because they were going to get there close to 1. And I said, oh, get here and then we'll run and get on there because we're going to do that. And then the girls wanted to eat. So we actually ended up eating in Mackinac City. And the rest of them came over and met us there. So then we ended up all taking... now I can't remember if it was a 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock ferry, whatever it was. They ended up meeting us. Then we were all able to go over on the same ferry, which was actually fabulous. I think it was the 3 o'clock ferry because I knew once we got to the hotel, even prior to that, that we could check in. So we got over to the island, and the thing that was big though, before we went, the midges, those little flies, I think they're called midges, were so bad. It was apocalyptic style by the water. And I started freaking out. I thought, are you kidding me? I've been there at times when they've been there in the beginning of June. I was really surprised that they were there this early, but you never know when they're going to come. And I freaked out with that. In fact, when they were getting ready to get on the ferry, they were covering themselves with coats because they were so bad. The weather was really nice that day. It was a little chillier, but it was beautiful out. So all of us that went over there were Jody, Della, Nicole, Kelly C, Marcy, Crystal, Rachel, Kelly W, and I. So prior to going there, I had gotten on Little Luxury's website and had found these cute little bags and candles that I wanted to have there as a thank you for coming and doing this to give to my girls. So I reached out to Nicole Dowd from Little Luxuries to see if it would be possible for them to deliver them to the Mackinac House. And of course she did, because she's awesome and they're awesome there. And I will share a picture in the stories of what it was that I was talking about. It was Island Girl gift bags with an Island Girl candle, and she tied it on top with a purple ribbon, which purple is my favorite color, so it just went along with it. The candles were amazing. The scent, it was like a marshmallow scent. It was so yummy. So those were there, and of course thank you to the Mackinac House because they kept them there for us. It's just these little touches that you truly appreciate. Okay, so then the other 3 girls, when they got there, we had given them their goodie bags, but some of the girls with their friend sweatshirts wanted to cut them, so we were cutting the sweatshirts. We just were hanging out in the lobby, which is so beautiful, sitting out on the front porch. We decided to head down to the Pink Pony, get some cocktails, and we walked around town a little bit. It was so nice to just be able to show them everything. We were going to dinner. We had reservations at Horns at 5:30, so we knew that that was going to be coming up soon. And one of the things was Nicole and I, we were, it was Nicole, Jennifer, and I that originally found the Islander bean dip that we are obsessed with at Horns, okay? The Islander bean dip, if you're not familiar, is layers of black beans, rice, frijoles, blended of cheeses, melted together and topped with lettuce, tomatoes, and black olives, served with salsa and corn chips. Now, I don't like the black olives, but I cannot emphasize this enough. Horns, you need this on your menu all day, because sometimes in the afternoon, I just want to go get an Islander bean dip and call it a day for an appetizer. And that's what it is, you guys. It's not a meal, it's an appetizer. But I get it for my actual meal because I love the whole thing so much. And when I tell people to go get it, they all agree. It is fantastic. You're full from it. I've tried to recreate it, but I swear what is so good about it is their queso. They just have it knocked down. So after that, we headed back to the hotel for a little bit, and then back to the Pink Pony for Mike Rise was playing, which he has played at the Pink Pony for years. And what I loved more than anything, you guys, I had a hat on, my sweatshirt, no makeup. It was so comfy and cozy. Everybody was so cute. They saw all of our shirts. So when I had walked away, and granted, I'm forgetting some things, but that's okay. You get the general, you know how it is. You're downtown, you're walking in and out. People are going to some stores, some people are going here. So when I would walk in, they're like, oh, there's the bride. And it was so fun. And he did sing the Pink Pony song, which made us very happy. We stayed out later than I thought we would, because the night before, some of us girls had stayed up pretty late, but we slept in. We were in. The most important thing is there, even though I had said this itinerary, there was no agenda. Like, we wanted to just relax and enjoy it. So we hung out at the Pink Pony for a while, and then we decided to go back to the room. And this is what was so great. So our rooms were kind of down in the basement part, if you will, the lower level of the Mackinac house, which Alyssa came up to us when we got there and said, I just want to let you know that I am on the other side, but I don't hear anything. But it made me feel better in case we were loud, because my room, which was with Crystal, Kelly W., Rachel, and I, we laugh a lot. And so I was worried about waking people up, but she's like, I don't hear anything. It's fine. But, okay, so in the other room next to us was Della and Nicole, and on the first floor was Jody, Marcy, and Kelly. Well, I am not somebody that stays up late, so I talked for a little bit and then I passed out. Well, the next morning we found out that Della and Nicole went up to the other girl's room, and they were FaceTiming our friend Amanda, who could not come. And she loves Mackinac like I do. And she wanted every detail. And I can just hear it in my head. Like, wait, tell me everything. I need to know everything. So, evidently they were a little too loud, and the neighbors had to come let them know. So Della and Nicole snuck out, and went back down to their room. And they were kind of like, oh man, they got in trouble. But we were just giggling because, you know, obviously I get it. But we just had a good laugh about it the next morning. So Friday morning, we got up. I wake up early, and I walked up and went into the lobby, and they had already started their continental breakfast. And when I say their continental breakfast is fabulous, you guys, it is. They have muffins, cereal, hard-boiled eggs, yogurt, different kinds of cookies, coffee, orange juice, apple juice, water, anything you can think of. It is a great breakfast. And the thing that was so nice is that we sat up in that lobby. I love that lobby. And just talked like we were talking about the night before. That's when they were filling me in and they had gotten in trouble. And it was so nice to be able to do that. So that morning, Jody had to leave early because she was heading back for her son's baseball game. But my friend Amy was going to be flying in that day. So I was on the phone with the taxi company to make sure that her ride was there when she flew in. And we couldn't do that until we knew from the pilot when he was going to be flying in. So getting that all arranged, got that taken care of, and we decided to head on down. I wanted to show them Watercolor Cafe and just kind of walk. None of us had taken bikes because we weren't really sure. I knew that we've taken bikes before, but sometimes you just don't ride them. And then when the midges situation came, I was so glad we did not take our bikes. So we headed down to the Watercolor Cafe. Went in there. Some people got a few things, but we were full from breakfast, and I think I got a small coffee. The coffee at the Mackinac House is amazing. So I had, I think, 3 cups there. I was very happy with it. Headed down to Mission Point because I wanted them to see that. I wanted to also show some of them that knew our friend Jennifer who couldn't make it. That's where she had her first marriage at, and we had stayed there to show them the renovations. So we went to the Round Island restaurant there and went and sat at the bar because we thought, oh, this will be good for some mimosas and Bloody Marys. And 2 of our friends, Rachel and Kelly, were back at the hotel because they were moving a little bit slower that morning, which I understood. And so we told them that's where we were if they wanted to head down, because I thought it might be nice for them to come down and, you know, that rural hair of the dog. Now, I like to get sometimes a Bloody Mary without any alcohol in it. I just like a good Bloody Mary, a good spicy Bloody Mary mix. It doesn't even have to have alcohol. So I had that, and at that time, I got word that Amy had arrived. So I went down to meet her, and at that time, Kelly and Rachel had also come down there, so I wanted all of us to be together. So walked down to get her, and it was so fun to hear her experience coming from the airport, because for her, she has 4 kids, and it was just a really nice time for her to have that time from the airport to the Mackinac House. They had to stop to get some other people. She just got to really, you know, she got to talk to the driver. She got to relax. It just allowed her to really soak into the whole Mackinac experience without feeling stressed, which, not that you do, but it was great. And the thing with Amy is that Amy and I, when we get to laughing, we laugh and laugh and laugh. So we headed down to Mission Point to meet the girls, and I was just pointing out different things to her along the walk. I was trying not to be too much of like a tourist guide, but I did want to point out some great things that, you know, you see when you're walking down, you know, Main Street, because it's fun to be able to share that. And different places that we've stayed at. We got down there. And mind you, it was really becoming a beautiful day. In fact, stupid me, did not pack enough t-shirts. And so the one t-shirt I had, I was fine with wearing. But I wish I had, because I loved my bride sweatshirt and I was wearing it, but it was a heavier one because we thought it would be cooler. But I ended up just wearing a t-shirt, but it was so nice out, you guys. And this is the thing about Mackinac, you never know what it's going to do. So we headed back down to meet the rest of the girls, and some of them have been enjoying some champagne, and we got down there, and Amy was sitting next to me, and I'll never forget this. She had her regular glasses on, and then she put her reading glasses over because she said that that is the best way for her to see when she has to read, and we were dying laughing. I will have to show that photo. And when I sent a text out to the girls, my friend Rachel pointed out, she said, I do remember that the bartender wanted you to do a shot, Heather. And this is something to know about me. I've never in my entire life of drinking or anything, I hate shots. I hate them so much. I don't care if people say that they're super good. I don't like them. But I decided, you know what? Just do it. And he said it was really good. And I think I have a video and I will share it. To me, it was not. To anybody else, it might be. But the other thing that has started happening to me, especially in my 40s, I am in perimenopause. I get headaches really easily from certain kinds of alcohol. So I really try, like if we had the whole day, I didn't want to drink really and worry about getting a headache because it's just something that I have to try and balance out. So after that, I instantly started to drink lots of water, which I drink lots of water anyway, because I just wanted to make sure I was not being affected by it, which I wasn't. So I showed them around Mission Point a little bit, and then we went out on the Great Lawn with Adirondack chairs and sat out there a little bit. It was so nice outside, and everything was really kind of starting to come alive, which I love to see, as you're there, and to be able to share it with the girls. So we had talked about doing a carriage tour. We went back to the hotel after this, and I don't even know what time it was. But again, because it was pre-season, the shuttles were closing or shutting down earlier than what they normally did. And this was something that I forgot to check into. So, unfortunately, we did not get to do the carriage tour, which I really think it would have been nice for some of them that had never been there to be able to experience, because as you know, you get to see a lot of different things with that. But that's okay. We still made the most of it. We decided to head down to the Pink Pony by the water. And for the girls that had never been to Mackinac, they could not get over how clear the water was. We truly just had so much fun sitting and talking. And on our way out, we saw this guy that we used to see all the time back in the day on our girls' trips. And his name is Louie. And we call him High Kick Louie. The reason we called him High Kick Louie is because one of the first times we were there, we all went to Horns because they had a band and we were going to hang out there. And he was dancing and he did high kicks. And so he just became High Kick Louie. And I swear to God, for years afterwards, we would see him. And this was mostly in our 20s. We stopped him. We had to take a picture with him because our friend Jennifer, who lives in California now, was not there, and we had to show her. And we said to him, we're like, I don't know if you remember us. And he looked kind of shocked and maybe even a little bit embarrassed, like trying to remember maybe things that he might have done or something. And the thing that we wanted to tell him was, we had some of our best memories with you when we came up here. Like, it always just seemed to work out that we saw him. They are some of my favorite stories. And here's the thing, guys. No, I will never share these stories on this show. It is something that is in the vault. It is something that my girlfriends and I share personally that will always be private to us. And I love that. And it was a lot of fun to see him. So, and I had told the girls that I had seen some pictures of him on various Mackinac pages, and he popped up. So see, you never know what's going to happen. So after that, we decided to walk out and go through some of the shops and try some fudge. We were doing that on the way up to the Grand Hotel because I wanted to take them up there and show them the Secret Garden and go up to the Cupola Bar and go to Sadie's Ice Cream. And what I didn't tell them was where we were going when we first went down by the Secret Garden. I just was kind of leading them into that area. And then I said, you guys just have to follow me. And I wish I had recorded all of their reactions when they walked around the corner, because it was incredible. Now, keep in mind that this is May and everything was just starting to bloom, but it was still gorgeous. And in fact, my friend Kelly FaceTimed her dad to show him, and she just couldn't stop raving. I saw some of Erin's wood burning that she did in the stumps were still there, because I know that she probably had not gotten up there to do any new ones, but they still looked fantastic. And from there, we headed inside to take them up to the Cupola Bar because I wanted them to see the view from there. And it's something that is so fun to be able to experience with people that have never seen that. And of course, when we got up there, we had to get the truffle fries because they're amazing. If you're not noticing a theme here, we like to eat and drink. We like to get appetizers and, and when I say drink it doesn't even have to be alcohol. We like to just sit and talk because that's what the phase is that we're in our life. Some of the girls got an espresso martini. I, of course, got my Grand Hotel margarita, which was one of my drinks at my wedding. And we just sat there and talked. In fact, I asked Nicole because at this point we were going to be going to dinner, I think at 7. And I think it was I don't know. I don't even know. It was after 5. Like the day was just flying by. And I said, do you think we can maybe move the reservations back? Because I knew I needed to go back and get ready, and so did the other girls. And I just didn't want to be rushed. So she did that. She called them, and they were wonderful. Um, so after that, we went to Sadie's, got some ice cream, walked back, and some of us walked back together. Some of the other girls got a care. My one friend Kelly C had had foot surgery a few weeks prior to that, so she took a. They got a taxi back to the hotel, and she said that her and Marcy rode together, and they could not stop laughing for some reason, and that's what I love. I love how we all get to laughing so hard because it is just we just have a great time together. And it was fun to hear their perspective of it as well too. My friend Crystal, this was her first time meeting a lot of these girls, and she said that she felt so great that everybody, like, we're big picture takers, like everybody's like get together. It was just great to have. So we went back to the hotel to get ready, and because some of us were sharing a room while the others were getting ready, we all went to Della Nicole's room, and Amy proceeded to entertain us by dancing and trying on other people's clothes that she didn't know whose they were. And it was just a riot. And so I went and got ready, and we headed to Mary's, and it was a beautiful night. We got to Mary's, and because we had been eating all day, I did not want to get something heavy. And so, no, I did not get the chicken tenders. I know that seems crazy. I recommended it to the girls. I think some of them got it to share. I will also say this. So far, the girls were all impressed with all the menus of every place we went to. They even said, my God, we could eat at Horns the whole weekend. And I said, I know, but you have to go to all these other places because they're so good. So they were so excited when they saw the menu at Mary's. And they were just kind of torn on what they wanted to get. I got a salad, and it was fantastic. It was perfect for me for the end of the night. That is exactly what I needed. It filled me up. It was a huge salad. I love a good salad, so that was perfect. And they were so nice at Mary's. We did not know that they closed at 9. And so we had been eating, and we were just about to get into this emotional conversation, and they came up and they said, we're sorry, but we're closing. Now, the other side, with the bar side, I think that stays open later, but that dining side was closing, which we totally understood. So at that point, we headed down to Patrick Dowd's and went in there, and I have to share this story because we got some espresso martinis. If you cannot tell, we love espresso martinis. And my friend Jody, mind you, she makes a damn good espresso martini, okay? So it's really hard to live up to her. She was making them the night before, and she used to work at a bar out in California. So this was definitely in her forte to be making them. She's nailed it. And so these were, in my opinion, Jody caliber espresso martinis. They were so good. So if you like a good espresso martini, I love the bar area. I actually just love the atmosphere in Patrick Dowd's. It's cozy. I love it. I just can't get enough of it. So we sat in there for a little bit, and it was so fun. Well, Neil was away on his bachelor golf weekend in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I kept checking in on the dogs. And I was frustrated about something, and so I was texting him, and he tried to call me. And mind you, I might have been a little buzzed, and so I was like, I'm not going to talk to him. And you have to excuse my language because he was with the guys, but he told me he knew I was being a butt. He knew, he could tell I was kind of buzzed. And he's like, you know what? I'm not in the mood for this. I'm just going to say crap. Okay. And I have to say, the next morning I called him and I'm like, I'm sorry. And he's like, I knew. And, I know I'm not the only one that does that to their husband sometimes when you're on a girls trip, but it was funny. So then we went over to Horns, and they had a band, and we danced and had such a great time. And Kelly and Marcy, they had to go back to the room because they were leaving early because Marcy's son had prom the next day. So they needed to make sure they were on the first ferry to get out, and she wanted to get home for pictures. So then we went back to our room, hung out there in a little bit, but then we, went to sleep, and that was that was it for the day. So Saturday morning, we woke up to a little bit of rainy weather, which was fine. We had another great continental breakfast, hung out in there, hung out outside. Um, I forgot that the day before on Friday morning, I took my friend Della and I went for a little mini walk, and I took her down to the spot behind the library that is my favorite spot. And the midges were just insane, but I wanted her to see it. And she had never been to Mackinac, so she was just loving seeing everything and how it looked. So Saturday morning, some of us had appointments starting at 11 at Lakeside Spa at Mission Point. So Amy, Crystal, and I were getting facials, and then they were getting massages. I love a good facial. And then Della and Nicole were getting blowouts. Kelly and Rachel were not getting anything, so they stayed back, and then they decided to go shopping downtown. And this is the one thing that I love, is that you should be able to be flexible if you've got a big group. You need to keep that in mind, I feel like. So when we got to Lakeside Spa, I cannot emphasize enough how fantastic this place was. If you want an incredible experience, go here. So because it was raining, Alyssa was super sweet. They had umbrellas for us to take down there. Us girls went to the spa side, which they provided lockers for our stuff. Then we put on robes. We went and sat in this one quiet area where they had tea and lounge chairs. And you just found yourself relaxing before they came to get you for your service. And I went back for my facial. And when I say that this was the best facial I ever have gotten, I mean that. I kept raving to her because it was insane. In fact, when I left there, I made sure to constantly compliment them and her and let them know. Sadly, the girls that got their blowouts, it was raining. And so their blowouts didn't last, but they didn't care. So I got Amy and Crystal were still back there. So I texted the rest of the girls, and they were all down at Horns because they wanted to try and get the Islander bean dip, and they couldn't. So I'm making a plea to Horns to please, 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 please put this on your appetizer menu all day long. I swear to God, people will go crazy for it. After that, we realized if any of us wanted to do some shopping, we were going to get that done. It was a great day too, because it was rainy, get our fudge that we wanted to. So we walked around and did that. And while I was shopping in at Poppins, I found these adorable envelopes. So what they were, it was this book of envelopes, and it was for you to give, if you were the bride, to give to your girlfriends for them to fill out. And it was just, for example, like different little bits of advice on maybe what to do, what to suggest if you're getting married. Hang on, I'm going to try and find them. Here they are. Oh, I got to get Blanche. So, for example, to the bride, and I put their names up in the corner, and then on the back it says, on the day of your wedding, be sure to, and it said sealed on the date and to be opened on the date. Some of these other ones, like the one to Della, was the secret to a successful marriage is, let's see here. The other one is, when you two are together, I have noticed. And I just asked them to fill them out and give them back to me. And it was fun to read. They gave them to me on my wedding day. And so if you can come across these, I highly recommend it, because it's fun to be able to do that and just look at it later on. That night was our caftan night, where we were dressed in caftans, and I loved it. I could wear those all the time. And we were eating at Kingston Kitchen. My friend Kelly W. is obsessed with the plantains there, which I'm obsessed with the jerk chicken. It was fabulous. Everything there was so good. We ate there, and by this time, the weekend had caught up with us. We were tired, so we all went back to the hotel, and we sat in our room. Della and Nicole had to leave early the next morning, so they only stayed for a little bit because they had to get back for a funeral. So we all stayed in our room, and it was Crystal, Rachel, Amy, Kelly, and I, and just talked, and it was wonderful, and I loved everything about it. The next morning, got up, got some breakfast. I think we were on the 9 or 9:30 ferry to leave there. It's always sad to leave the island, but it was so fun to leave the island in such a good way. I was so grateful that some of my girls got to experience it in that way. I would love to go back with them again another time, and just see it all, as doing some of the things that we didn't get an opportunity to. But again, it was still a great time. I loved it. I love that we started out at Jody's cabin and laughed and stayed up late and did all of that. But if you are looking for a fantastic place to go to for a bachelorette weekend, I cannot say enough about Mackinac Island, especially because it's just everything's right downtown there. If you want to go out, there's so much to do. I feel like they've got a fantastic day and nighttime activity wise for you. There's, obviously spas for you to experience different things. If you are into, in the summertime, they have, the ghost tours. You can tour the forts, and the thing is, everybody can do something different if you want to during the day. You can say, listen, if some people want to go do this, go do that. If you want to bike the island, you can. If you want to go inner island, you can. There's just a lot of flexibility with it that I really, really love. So I'm going to share all this information on Instagram. And another thing, I'm going to be creating a Patreon account for the podcast. What is going to be available on the Patreon account is all the old episodes are going to be on there. So because so many times in the past, like it was on a different platform, it's still there, but I need to be able to have some place that you guys can have access to all of it. And then there's going to be other things that I'm going to add to it. I still am trying to figure it out. So once that is ready to go, I will let you know of the launch date. I'm working on that. I'm trying to figure it all out, but I'm really excited to be able to share that with you guys. It's also going to give you an option to give you more connection with me for suggestions of podcasts that you want to hear about, because as a Patreon member, that's going to give you that. I'm going to give different polls to see what I can do on that and work on that. So that is going to be very, very exciting. Probably going to be looking more towards, middle November that'll be launching. It could be earlier, but I can't believe where October's going already. So, all right, folks. Well, there you have it. My bachelorette weekend up in Mackinac Island. I loved it. Couldn't have gone any better. There's so much that did happen that I won't share, but I love that I got to experience with my girlfriends. So, all right. Well, that concludes this week's episode. I look forward to talking to you next week about our favorite place, Mackinac Island. Totally Mackinac Island is written, produced, and edited by me, Heather.